This is Sean Paul.
Hi, Sean Paul. It's Melvin with iCkEdMeL. Thank you for
Hey,
taking my
Melvin.
call. Hey, I really appreciate it, man. I know you're super busy, and you have a lot going on, and I just really wanted to offer my condolences with regards to your daughters and that just insane situation that you have going
Thank
on.
you.
Okay, is it okay if I record?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. So you're not from MOAB, Utah, right?
I actually have lived here just for 6 years, but just not this year.
Okay, so you
I moved
traveled.
back to my hometown, back to Helena, Montana this year.
Uh, and so you traveled back for this situation that's going on. Can you
Yeah,
can you explain a little bit about the clue booth? Because I saw that on your Facebook. Is it okay if I share the Facebook and your the GoFundMe and all those links?
absolutely. Share my
Okay.
pictures, you bet.
Okay.
The Clue Booth is set up at the City Park downtown Moab, Swanee Park. That's where the swimming pool complex is. And I'm at one of the picnic tables in the shade. I've been there every day for 3 weeks,
Wow.
and I'm there in the morning from 9 till noon, taking in clues from local folks who think that they know or saw or seen something. They give me those clues, and I immediately dial the sheriff's number, and I either report the clue for them or I hand them the phone, or I'll just text in the clue.
Hmm.
And then we send that to the Grand County Sheriff's Office. So I just made my own booth, and I told the sheriffs what I was going to do, and they said, well, it can't hurt. It might even help.
Right.
And over the last 3 weeks, I've got about 35 clues.
Wow.
And out of those, probably only 5 of them were bogus, and the rest were actual real clues. Now, most of those real clues the sheriff's already heard, but
Okay.
a handful of the clues I turned in, they hadn't heard before. So it really actually worked, and it really actually helped.
Yeah, I think that's amazing, man. That you're just kind of on the ground. You got up, you went out there, and you started kind of doing your own to get the community together to get pieces. I mean, I saw a little bit of the celebration of life ceremony as well, which is beautiful. Somebody playing the guitar and songs. Uh, what
Right.
I w- what I was wondering too, like with this situation, and I've heard so many positive things about them. Even the Woody's Tavern, because they made Facebook
Yeah.
posts and they said they were a loving couple. They were just
You
really
bet.
into each other, and they were there with two friends, I believe, as well, right?
Yeah, I think 3 friends.
Three friends. Okay. So I wanted to really just get the factual thing so we can put it out so everybody knows the timeline.
You bet.
August 13th. Sorry, August 13th. Was that the last time they were seen at the bar?
Correct.
Okay. When did the text messages or communication with friends happen when they said there was this creepy guy around the camp?
Those weren't texts. They spoke with their friends directly at the bar.
Okay. Oh, they told him at the bar. Okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
And so they
You know,
left around 9?
9 or 9:30. Yep.
Okay. And I also heard them confirm like there was nobody following them, there was nobody like pursuing them at the bar or outside or anything like that.
From inside the bar, from what the staff saw inside the bar, they didn't see any weirdos or creepers or anybody tail the girls out.
Okay.
They would have no way to know if someone followed them from outside the bar.
Right. Was Crystal scheduled to work on Saturday, August 14th, like the next day? Or you don't know?
No, I think Saturday they both had off.
Okay.
I think she was scheduled to work Sunday and missed. And then I think they were both scheduled to work Monday and missed.
Okay.
And by then, both employers had called the police and said, this is very irregular. These girls never miss a shift without
Right.
calling us.
Is the official date that they were reported missing August 16th? Is that correct?
To the police?
Yeah, like they were reported missing officially. Was that August 16th?
I think it was the 15th,
Okay.
which is it's Friday the 13th, Saturday the 14th. So I think it was Sunday the 15th.
Yeah.
That McDonald's said, hey, we got a problem. And then the very next day, Moonflower said, hey, we got a problem.
Mm.
So once Crystal had missed one shift, Kylen hadn't yet. The next day, Crystal had missed 2 shifts and Kylen missed 1 shift. And by then, both businesses were really worried.
Can you
Now,
sorry, go ahead.
Now, I called the police and tried to file a missing persons, and they said that they were in the process of doing an attempt to locate ATL.
An attempt to locate what?
I called the police to file for a missing persons,
Right.
and they said, well, we're already doing an ATL on the girls, attempt to locate.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay.
I tried to file a missing persons, and they said, we're doing an ATL. See, I don't think they understood how serious it was right from the get-go.
Right. The campsite. Do you know specifically like what creek? I know it was said that they were in the South Mesa area by La Soup. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. La Soup Road.
It's called LaSalle. LaSalle is the mountain, LaSalle. That's LaSalle Mountain, and it's called LaSalle Mountain Loop Road.
LaSalle Mountain
LOOP.
Loop Road. Okay.
Yes, LaSalle Mountain Loop Road.
And do you know what creek it was about? Like, do you know specifically the camping area, or
okay? The creek doesn't. Yeah, I know exactly where it is. I've been up there many, many, many times over the last 6 years.
The women were on a weekend campout at a site off LaSalle Loop Road.
As you go east of Whispering Oaks, which is that's the spot where the wedding was. Okay. As you go east of Whispering Oaks, 1/8 of a mile, you'll see a left turn onto a county road with a county number. As soon as you make that left turn, the girls were camped just to the north. And it's not a creek with a name. This creek is only 2 feet wide. 2 feet wide. You understand?
Okay.
It's not like a creek with a name. It's a tiny, tiny little creek that comes down, and a little while later it goes into a little bit bigger creek, and then it dumps into Mill Creek, and then it goes down to the Colorado. But up there where the girls were camped, their campsite is right alongside this tiny, tiny little creek.
Okay. I see.
And then apparently the creeper camped too close to them, and it freaked them out.
Mm.
And there is a campsite in between where the girls were and the road. And it's such a small area that honestly, the way people camp around here, if you are in dispersed camping and you have a campsite, the other people, generally speaking, give you space.
Right.
And camp a little further away from you. This guy did not. He camped too close to the girls, and he creeped them out.
Have there been like anybody reported like, oh yeah, we saw somebody weird too, or like creepy around the area, like that you know of?
Quite a few people have seen weirdos around the area, including up on the mountain. But we do not currently have a description of the creeper or a vehicle or a weapon or a license plate number. We have zero. Now the authorities may have, but me here on the ground, I have nothing.
How has like the investigation been so far? Like, do you know at least what you can say? Like, what have authorities done? You know, did they take her cell phone?
Well, what I would say is for this father, it's taken too long. But I mean, 2 days would be too long for me.
Right.
So this is taking forever. I mean, 5 weeks today is it just seems like it's just taken forever. And you know, I believe that they're limited. You know, they say they're getting assistance from the FBI, but that doesn't mean 4 or 5 or 10 or 12 people. I think it just means they're able to use their technology, you know, their database or whatever.
Right.
But I don't know. They won't tell me anything.
I saw you comment too, like on Facebook about I think it was the Grand County Sheriff's Office where they said, well, I don't know if you commented on it. I saw that they said they're trying to find that the Sheriff's Office said there's no current danger to the public.
The Grand County Sheriff's Office said the women were shot multiple times, and investigators are following up on leads. What doesn't make sense to the family is a statement from the sheriff saying there's no longer a threat to the community.
How can you publish something and say that the community is not at danger when there is a killer at large? Please tell me how that works.
Was there a statement released?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? How
Yeah.
could they possibly say that if someone raped and murdered 2 girls? I could see the mountain from here. I'm in town. It's right up there. It only takes about 25 to 30 minutes to drive up altitude into the mountains from Moab. So people were raped and murdered right up there.
Jesus.
And they're saying we're safe
That's
right
crazy.
down here.
Insane.
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. None. Unless they know the perp, unless they know exactly who it is by DNA, fingerprints, ballistics, whatever, and they know that that guy is in Mexico or Tahiti or wherever, then there's no way in hell they could say we're all safe here. How could we be? It's not possible.
Right. Yeah, I'm really sorry this has happened to you and family and friends. I mean,
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. And you know that we lost our son. You know, I lost my boy.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Mackie was shot to death almost instantly by one of his own friends.
Wow. I mean, it was
Where
just
that
like
boy
accidental.
thought a bad guy. That boy thought a bad guy was breaking into his bedroom window, and a bad guy was not breaking into his bedroom window. Mac was trying to wake him up to sneak out and go play, and the guy just shot at the head in the window and killed his own friend.
Wow.
Yeah, then later they gave him his gun back and said justifiable homicide.
Really?
Yes, so after Mackie Boy was killed, then Kylen had no more reason to stick around that abusive house that she was in. She was only sticking around there to protect her little brother.
Wow.
Because she had been abused there.
Kylen was
once
abused
Mackie
there?
died, she said, hey, Daddy, I'm going to get the hell out of Billings. And I said, good, come to Moab. Check it out. It's beautiful. It's fun. You'll love it. So she came to Moab and she told me that Moab saved her life. She was actually having suicidal thoughts in Billings.
Sean Paul, I wanted to ask you too, because I saw people like on the comment sections, but I read in the article as well. People were commenting, murder suicide, but the article said this is not what that is. There was a third party. I mean, can you just speak to that a little bit too?
Yeah, the comments about murder suicide were made by the gal who found Kylen. Okay.
Oh.
And all she said was, how can the authorities tell us we're safe if they are not calling this a murder-suicide? So the only time murder-suicide was ever mentioned by anyone ever was when Cindy Sue said, if you're not calling this a murder-suicide, so the girls didn't kill themselves, then how could you possibly say we're safe?
Right.
And the fact of the matter is, there's no way in hell it could have been a murder-suicide because both girls were undressed, both girls were shot multiple times, and then their bodies were dragged into the creek.
Wow. Wow.
So you can't drag your own body into the creek.
Right. And I saw articles saying that.
Huh?
I saw articles saying that as well, that like it's a third party. It's not a murder-suicide. So I just wanted to... Okay.
100%. It's a double homicide. And it's also a sexual crime. You can't leave out the part about it's a sexual crime.
Right.
And they were found half closed.
Do you know if they've done any searches? Like, I mean, just in the general area at least, like where they were found? Or
yeah, they said the FBI came and they had helicopters and stuff, and they must have canvassed the area and went around and tried to find evidence and clues and stuff. But the fact of the matter is, still left up there today is still garbage, wet wipes, diapers, empty cans. We even found a set of keys up at the crime scene that the authorities had missed.
Wow. That's what I was going to ask you.
Keys that we haven't been able to identify whose keys they are because the tags on the keys are kind of old and it's pretty hard to figure it out. So this is an artifact that was actually turned into my booth by people that were up there scouring the area looking for clues. Not investigators, regular citizens. Because, see, people have already been camping up there. The authorities are saying, no, don't get your hopes up. Those keys could be anybody. Well, I'm not saying anything about whose the keys are. I'm saying figure out whose the keys are and see if that matches the evidence.
Right.
Now, the keys that were found up there were pushed into the mud. They looked like they'd been in the elements for about a month. And they had tags on them.
They had what on them?
Like tags, like a grocery store membership or a gym membership.
Oh, no
like
way.
Tags, like with the beeper code on them. So, I mean, if they haven't processed those tags, then what the hell are they doing?
Right. There should be information they can pull from there. Data, metadata, anything.
Right. Now remember, I'm also my own investigator, and one of the tags I found, that gym was closed, and the information's not available. Those computers have been shut off for a couple of years, and the business was foreclosed on, so that information's not available. One of the tags. The other tag, we haven't been able to identify what business it's from. All we have is a very vague logo. We don't have a name or an address or anything, just a very vague logo.
That's so weird. And is that place is that Camp Eric highly trafficked, or is it I know it's a dispersed area, but is there a lot of people usually there, or is it kind of like remote and kind of quiet, not really a lot of people?
There's usually quite a people there. Keep in mind that it's less than an eighth of a mile from Whispering Oaks, which is kind of a little tiny, 5 houses that are like a resort area.
I see it. Yeah.
Super close to that. And there was a wedding party there Friday and Saturday night
Okay.
with 100 guests.
Hmm.
So, were the wedding party guests fingerprinted, DNA'd, and questioned? No, they were not. How do I know? Because I spoke directly to the father of the bride, and he told me he had a spreadsheet of where everybody was staying in which cabins and what lodge that he had made for the authorities, and they never called him back for it. And they never explained to the wedding party that the girls were murdered a 16th of a mile away from you guys, right under your noses, a gunshot sound away.
Wow. Yeah.
So, my point is, one of the wedding guests could have flipped a U-ey right there where the girls were, because if there was no parking at Whispering Oaks, they would have flipped a U-ey right at the very next left turn, which is right where the girls got murdered. Keep in mind, the girls got murdered only 150 yards from the road, from the paved road. So they weren't out in the middle of nowhere. They were close enough for Cindy Sue to see them from the paved loop road, find their van, and then go in and find the girls. I was on the phone with her when she found the girls.
I heard. I mean, I'm glad you're clearing that up. It's close to the road. It's a very small creek. The Whispering Oaks is right there as well. I'm looking at it at the map. There's a couple houses there,
Absolutely.
like you said.
Now, if you're looking at Google Map, all you have to do is look to the left a tiny bit, and the very first road you see that goes down to the left.
Okay.
Stop right there, right at the road, right where you see it. Hooked onto the paved part, and you'll see where the road is wide on both sides where someone could pull over there.
Right. I do see that actually.
And you'll see where you could walk down those 2 little trails right to them 2 trees on that tiny little creek. That's where the girls were camped. Right in between those 2 trees where those 2 little dirt roads go right down to that tiny, tiny little creek.
Okay. Oh, okay. I see a tiny little creek, yeah.
Yep. So when people say that they were dragged into the creek, it's hard to explain, but I mean, their bodies are almost bigger than the creek. That the perps dragged them over to the creek to try to wash off evidence. Then they left them in the creek, and 5 days of rain, hail, runoff washed away those girls' blood for 5 days.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I was wondering if like maybe this is somebody that's done this before, like experienced, to.
Well, I think you have to be severely mental to do this, and it doesn't sound like a first offense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, double rape and double murder.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like someone just decided to do that off the top of their head. That sounds like someone who might have raped before, murdered before, maybe even raped and murdered before.
Wow.
We don't know. Yeah, the dad taking clues in the park. I'm just one guy, a dad standing there with my dollar phone. I don't have DNA. I don't have ballistics. I don't have, the data bank to punch stuff into. But I have been able to be there for the community and take in some of these clues.
Right. Well, I appreciate you talking to me and sharing this information and clearing some things up. I mean, is there
Yeah.
any things that you want to share about Kylen and Crystal? I mean, just what they were like. I saw your statement that was made during the ceremony.
Well, you're just going to hear over and over again the same things from people.
Right, that's what
They
I've
were a
heard.
delight to watch. They didn't want attention, but people couldn't help but watch them. Their love was spectacular. It was a super shining, bright light for everyone to observe. Moab loved and cherished those girls. Kylen was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. She was kind of sort of my firstborn,
Mm.
Kylen and Crystal were wonderful together. They were very playful. They were very loving. They had super great little adventures together. They were really outdoorsy. They would love to hike and swim in the creek and all that kind of stuff.
Thank you so much. And who should, if people have tips, where should they go to send tips?
Well, they need to call the Grand County Sheriff's Office at 435-259-8115.
Okay.
Oh,
And
you do still own this place. I'll come talk to you in a second. Yeah, we're having a burger at Milt's, famous Stop and Eat. Milt's Burger Shack, Burgers and Shake.
Yeah.
Super great
okay.
place in Moab here.
Nice. Well, I really appreciate your time, and I know you were very limited, so I really thank you for coming on and just sharing the story. I'll put the links as well so people know how to find you and the GoFundMe. And I saw that like a private citizen and the Sacred Earth One LLC offered a reward, $10,000 reward.
Yep, two people
leads.
put up $10,000 rewards, so now
Wow.
there's a $20,000. Yes.
That's good. All right. Well, thank you, Sean Paul, man. Thank you again.
Yeah, thanks for the exposure. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye.